Good evening, and welcome to Legislative Day number 19. Will now come to order. Please rise for a moment of silent meditation. Thank you. I will now call upon Councilwoman Allman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of November the 5th?
I'll move it. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The journal is approved. Enrollment of bills. Bills 77-18, 78-18, 79-18, 80-18, and 82-18 were passed by the council, signed by the executive, and hereby enrolled. Mr. Secretary, will you now read all bills for introduction?
Bill 93-18, Child Advocacy Center Medical Services. Bill 94-18, Victims of Crime Act. And Bill 95-18, Trade Point Atlantic Grant.
Thank you. The council will now consider all bills for final reading and vote. Mr. Secretary, first bill, please.
Bill 83-18, 2018-2019 Capital Budget.
Mr. Dorsey.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the County Council. The Bill 8318 is a request for approval of a supplement to the county's 2018-2019 capital budget. The amount in total is $170 million. These are funds that were approved by the voters at the November election time, and it was approved in the bond referendums for that time. Normally, these funds would have been appropriated in fiscal year, starting in fiscal year 2020. What we're doing is to request acceleration of us having the authorization out there to begin expenditures. As I said, the total is $170 million. $10 million of it would be for roadway resurfacing, to add to roughly the $10 million that's there now, so we can meet the whatever kind of work that needs to be done in the spring. We'll be able to keep up what we had tried to establish the last couple of years, a $20 million per year work in terms of roadway resurfacing. There is $7.2 million for refuse disposal, where at the Eastern Sanitary Landfill, there are cells, the places, the holes that we put the trash in. We're filling up on the cell number 10, and so in anticipation, we are requesting funds so we can begin the construction of cell number 12, and so that it would be ready in time for a future date. We're requesting funding for $15.7 million for the replacing the communication system related to 911, where as the county is trying to, like the rest of the state, get ready for next-gen services. In order for us to test to make sure it is in compliance, right now the schedule would take it such that we couldn't test in the spring of 2020 because of we would need to have the foliage fully in bloom to test it. So in order to meet that deadline of 2020 spring and then be able to come up live later on, we're requesting the acceleration of funds so we can begin that replacement task now. And then the fourth major area is in terms of the schools. We're requesting $137.3 million to was approved in the bond referendums, but we want to ask that the appropriation be put out there now so that we can continue the work or begin the work in terms of Northeast Area Middle School. That's $53 million there. That would go for Nottingham site and the Spring Pine Grove Middle School addition. Another $53 million would be in the Southeast area, new construction to take care of replacement of Dundalk, Berkshire, and Colgate elementary schools. $23 million in the Northeast for construction there for a new elementary school on Ridge Road. And then a final $8 million in the Southwest area for renovation and construction at the Chadwick Elementary School. So that's the total amount of $170,242,761.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman Quirk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for you, Mr. Dorsey, is when we're looking at the, for example, the most recent Prague report, and we're looking at the effect of the capital program on debt ratios, really looking out at the 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, this is part of that Prague report?
Yes, it's part of the Prague report.
Okay.
Councilman Katz.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I have absolutely no problems with these expenditures, but I just have a quick question. The audit office and I took a look at the debt that the county currently has, and the Spending Affordability Committee has set as a lid that the county should not borrow more than 2.5% of the taxable assessable base. And we arrived at a number that we were within $173 million of that 2.5% lid. Would this take us to the lid? Is this 170 additional?
I believe we covered this once, dry run, that in terms of the amount that the auditors have in their projection, these numbers are included in there because they were part of that assumption about what debt was going to be given out this year.
Okay, so those projections include this.
Yes, I
Okay,
believe
thank
that was the case that we
Thank you.
sort of looked at this.
Councilman Quirk.
But I did want to point out in future years, we do exceed that. Like, for example, fiscal year 2022, 23, 24, that's when we are starting to get north of that 2.5% if we continue along this capital budget path. So clearly, we've got some tough decisions ahead of us.
Yes.
Because that base spending, not what we call contingency reserve spending,
Mhm.
we have to do something completely different if we're going to not do anything to significantly cut spending or raise taxes. We're going to have to make some hard decisions. So we have that to definitely tackle very shortly.
Any additional questions? Mr. Secretary, I understand there is an amendment to Bill 83-18.
There's a technical amendment requested by the administration. It just corrects a directional notation from northeast to southeast.
Is there a motion to approve the amendment to Bill 83-18?
I move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Bill 83-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The amendment is passed. Any additional questions from anyone? Is there a motion to approve Bill 83-18 as amended?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on 83-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 83-18 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 84-18, Tiger Grant.
Mr. Anderson, how are you tonight?
I'm well, Mr. Chairman,
Good.
members of the council. Bill 8418 is a request to approve a supplemental appropriation of $20 million. This is part of the federal Tiger Grant, which you'll remember we won back in the winter on behalf of Trade Point Atlantic. This is $20 million to help rebuild the port infrastructure and unlock some of the maritime commerce. And it's taken us 6-7 months with Federal Department of Transportation to work out the agreements. So we're now bringing the appropriation through. So what you'll see is this $20 million is coming to the county, which will move on to Trade Point Atlantic. The bill that was introduced earlier, 9518, under the name Trade Point Atlantic, that's where Trade Point is going to be granting to the county $1.5 million to administer the full Tiger Grant over the course of its lifetime. So there'll be two appropriations all around the same Tiger Grant, which will allow them to begin port operations next month, which is terrific because now we can get to port economy down there in addition to the logistics economy that we've got going. So that is the summary of the appropriation.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Just to be clear, this is federal government money.
This is federal government money, $20 million from the Federal Department of Transportation.
Good. Any questions? Yes.
Not really a question, Mr. Chair. Just a comment. Mr. Anderson, thank you. As I said in the work session, thank you to you and your staff and to the team at Trade Point Atlantic for garnering this investment, not only for the 7th District, but for all of Baltimore County. It helps accelerate the success of this project. We've already seen where the public-private partnerships that have taken place so far have been successful. We're seeing returns on those investments already, I believe. And I think it's important to note that this grant from the federal government is a competitive grant. It wasn't just decided; it was fought for, and the county and Trade Point had to compete for it. And I would appreciate my colleagues' support on this bill, simply because if this $20 million does not come to Baltimore County to improve the port infrastructure, it's going to go somewhere else on the eastern seaboard and help another port become more competitive with us here in this region. And when you look at that property with 5 owners in 10 years that did not invest in the port infrastructure of the property, this is needed in order to increase the amount of commerce that we can get rolling through Trade Point. And a success story outside of this Tiger Grant is that I think you're all aware that Purdue just signed a contract to build a $30 million facility doing a processor, bringing in a commodity organic grain for their operations. So a Maryland-based company investing in Baltimore County is a good thing, and this will just increase commodities flowing through Trade Point Atlantic and Baltimore County. So again, appreciate your support. Thank you.
Councilman Marks.
I'll echo some of the comments that Councilman Crandall mentioned. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You know, I said at the work session in my previous life, I worked at the Department of Transportation, and the intention behind these grants was to infuse a lot of capital into large-scale projects. So, you know, the things like the Alaska Way Viaduct in Seattle and some of the projects in Los Angeles and New York, New Jersey. This is a very competitive process, and real kudos to you and to the administration for securing this large amount of investment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Mr. Secretary? No, is there, let me see. No questions from the members? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 84-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Ayes have it. Bill 84-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Thank you.
Bill 85-18, Mental Health Services Agencies.
Good Dr. Branch? How you doing, sir? I heard you on Sunday, but I did not see you.
Heard you, but didn't see you. Must have been a radio.
The monitor was not working, but the audio was working. And I said, I know that voice.
There you go.
That's the good Dr. Branch.
There you go. Good evening, everyone. For Bill 8518, the administration is requesting supplemental appropriation of county funds totaling $561,000. The funds will be used for the mobile crisis team to provide 24-hour on-site emergency mental health services, specifically to add a third shift to mobile crisis team from 1 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And then we will have it 24 hours a day, 7 days per week.
Thank you, Dr. Branch. Any questions? Councilman Quirk?
Yeah, as we talked about in the work session, thank you for your work on this. I mean, there's lots and lots of demands for very limited resources in county government. And this one definitely is very commendable. I mean, you look at this mobile crisis team already. It provided over 2,343 interventions during fiscal year 18. Well, that's a lot of people that were in crisis and may have gone a different direction without active, prevention. And so I think this is definitely a great program. And also, I do want to commend you too for your work with everything you've done with opioids and really making sure we have a very aggressive program to help our residents. Have seen a major improvement over the last couple years with Baltimore County and all the efforts we've undertaken. So thank you.
Edit, copy, paste. Same thing. I agree with Councilman Quirk. Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, you want to call the roll on Bill 85-18?
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 85-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 86-18, Baltimore County Medication-Assisted Treatment Capacity Expansion.
So for Bill 8618, the administration is requesting supplemental appropriation of federal funds of $523,000. And this is going to be funds that we're going to use to use buprenorphine treatment in the detention center.
Thank you. Another worthwhile program. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 86-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 86-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 87-18, Baltimore County Behavioral Health Advisory Council.
So Bill 8718, we are asking for codification of the Baltimore County Behavioral Health Advisory Council. And simply, this is actually just combining two other advisory councils that we already have in existence. We have the Mental Health Advisory Council and the Substance Abuse or the Drug and Alcohol Advisory Council. As the council knows, you can't deal with one issue without the other. We've already had developed over 10 years now our division of behavioral health, so we're actually dealing with it together. What we've been doing is we've been holding both those meetings adjacent to one another, and we kind of close one and open the other. So we're basically saying, can we just now just have the one meeting?
Make perfect good sense. Any questions? None. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 87-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 87-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 88-18, Community Development Block Grant Home Investment Partnership Act.
Ms. Van Arsdale, how you doing this evening? Good, good. Are you the same Ms. Van Arsdale I spoke with today?
Yes,
Okay, good.
the whole hour.
I know.
The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of $1,085,545 to reflect an increase in funding of $473,006 in community development block grant funds and $612,539 in home investment partnership funds. The funds will be used to provide additional assistance to eligible programs such as mortgage assistance, housing counseling and first-time homebuyer education, public service and capital grants to not-for-profits, home rehabilitation grants, as well as associated administrative costs.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 88-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mrs. Bevins? Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 88-18 is passed. Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Van Arsdale. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 89-18, Senior Care Health Promotion.
Ms. Joanne Williams.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the County
evening.
Council. I have before me a request from the Baltimore County Department of Aging. A request to approve a supplemental appropriation of $93,674 for our Senior Care Health Promotion Program. The Senior Care Health Promotion Program is funded by the Maryland Department of Aging to integrate health and wellness activities into our already existing senior care program for all of our participants and including individuals currently on the wait list. These funds will be used to support a part-time employee who will manage these additional wellness programs, which include identifying clients who will be eligible for wellness programs, which include nutrition, exercise programs, coordinating evidence-based programs in the community, identifying partnerships with the county's health and human services departments and other service providers. And this we will also provide follow-up to the clients to ensure that they attend the identified programs and services that are assigned to them.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Is this your last scheduled time before the council?
Yes, it is.
Now she's going to be a lady of leisure.
Somewhat.
And
Somewhat.
you've been working for Baltimore County for 36 years, is it?
Yes, sir. It's been a great 36 years, and I appreciate all of your support of what we do. It's a good work in the Department of Aging. Little plug out there.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've been
It's-
blessed to be a part of that for 36 years of my life. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate everything you've done in terms of
Appreciate it.
Department of the Aging. And
My
it's a
pleasure.
very vital role, and I know you put a lot into it. After all, you and I sat together Sunday
Yes.
at another event.
Right.
So I certainly appreciate all your work and dedication, and you've been an exemplary employee. It was good to sit with you and have you tell me about your entire career in that short period of time, but I think it's important.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I think you have a lot to be proud of, and we're going to wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you.
And I'm going to see if the woman that was sitting to our left, if what she said will come true. Another woman said
Okay.
retirement is not all it's cracked up to. She did it for like 3 weeks, and she figured she had to find something to do. But, so we're going to see.
I have plenty to do.
Mr. Chair.
Thanks, yes.
Ms. Williams, I just want to thank you
Thank you.
personally for everything that you've done
Thank you.
throughout the years. I think I've known you the longest of any of the members
I think
being
so.
in the county previously, and I know the efforts that you have made for seniors and to make sure that they were taken care of. And to have a woman as a department head as well
Thank
has been a very proud moment for me. And I'm certainly going to miss you, but you are my constituent.
Yes, you are.
So if you ever need to fill some of those hours,
Okay.
just give me a call.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Bennett.
That's what I told her when we were sitting together. I said, if you ever need anything, I said, wait a minute, where do you live? She says, I said, okay, if you ever need anything, call Kathy Bennett.
Kathy.
She'll take care of you.
We'll miss you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
If I may?
Councilwoman Holmes.
Ms. Williams, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure to work with you all of these years, and the work that you do and that your department does is so important.
Yes, it is.
And our seniors are just growing, and there are more of them than there ever have been.
We're lucky
and-
we'll all get a chance to be
Yeah,
there.
a lot has changed, so
Right.
we really appreciate you looking towards the future with a vision for our elderly and our senior citizens. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Secretary, are there any additional questions or comments? Mr. Secretary, would you call the roll on Bill 89-18?
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Ayes have it. What is this? 89-18 is approved, and let me take a picture of you sitting out there. So we know what you look like when you leave us. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Enjoy your retirement. Come see us sometime. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 90-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. Zoning regulations, DR zones.
Councilwoman Allman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill has to do with the Stevenson Rosewood project that's been going on for about 16 or 17 years. And it's finally beginning to look like it's all coming together, so we're keeping our fingers crossed. But this bill is in accordance with the Rosewood Community Plan, permitting private college uses in the DR zone under certain circumstances. So I'd appreciate it if my colleagues would vote yes on this, and hopefully at some point we can say Stevenson has taken over Rosewood. Thank you.
Great. Any questions, comments? Let me just thank you, Councilwoman Allman, for your leadership and tenacity with the whole Stevenswood, Rosewood issue. I've been following it right next door, and I know you put a lot of work and effort into it. So.
Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 90-18.
Mrs. Allman?
Positively yes.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Most certainly.
Mr. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mrs. Bevins?
Absolutely.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
I'm trying to see what,
It's
I
her
think
last
the
one.
absolute, in the affirmative. It was enough.
Oh, you have one more bill. I thought that
You
was
have
it.
one more?
We can have one more.
Okay, all right. So it was passed with the affirmative votes. Bill 90-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 91-18 is also sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. Historic environmental setting, Scott's Tavern House.
Solomon?
Thank you. I believe there's an amendment.
There
Technical
is an amendment, which is a technical amendment, is to correct the effective date of the retroactive application to the bill. That effective date should be October 26, 2006.
Councilwoman Allman?
Yes, I would just like to say that this bill establishes the historic environmental setting for the landmark structure known as Scott's Tavern House, stone outbuilding and log outbuilding. A state tax credit is available to persons who invest money to rehabilitate a historic structure, but unless the county designates a structure and the property on which it's located as historic, the state credit may not be available for improvements made to the structure. So this bill rectifies that. And this is my last bill.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Well, how do we dare vote no?
Exactly.
All righty then.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the
So
amendment to Bill 91-18?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendments to Bill 91-18.
Mrs. Allman,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Of course, yes.
Mr. Quirk,
Yes.
Mr. Catch,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mrs. Bevins,
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Aye.
It's been affirmed. The amendments to Bill 91-18 has passed. Is there a motion to approve Bill 91-18 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on 91-18 as amended.
Mrs. Allman,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Quirk,
Yes.
Mr. Catch,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mrs. Bevins,
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Aye.
It's always one. The yeses have it. Bill 91-18 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Bill 92-18 is sponsored by Council Members Marks and Quirk. Open space fees.
Councilman Quirk? Wait, Councilman Mark?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Neighborspace of Baltimore County is a nonprofit organization that preserves green space within the urban-rural demarcation line. I think all of us have had very positive experiences with this organization. What this legislation would do is simply remove the cap and provide the organization with additional flexibility in how to spend its resources. Again, as I said, this is a very trustworthy organization. They have a reporting requirement for the county council, and this will assist them in better maintaining properties throughout the county.
Thank you. Councilman Quirk?
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Councilman Marks for his work on this as well. And I mean, Neighborspace is definitely a great organization dedicated to preserving open space inside the URDL. And they do great work. And I'd like to also point out that most of the land that Neighborspace oversees has been donated to Neighborspace. So a lot of the money they might use for capital, usually they are using that for other things if we allow it, such as programming and helping run these programs. And fortunately, we do have a lot of good people out there that are donating usually the land that Neighborspace does have. And I did want to also echo what Councilman Mark said. This is a very transparent organization. They got a wonderful board of directors. They got a great executive director. If that ever changed or we ever felt there was something different, you know, with different people in the future, we can always come back and revisit this as well. But I do think they just have a fantastic board. They report every year to us. We can ask them questions anytime. So we have a lot of oversight, which I definitely trust on this. So I do ask for my colleagues' support.
Thank you, Councilman Quirk. And I will also add that I think this is a good bill. I had some questions, but they were all answered. And I would like to thank you, Ms. Hopkins. Your staff was reaching out to me throughout the week to make sure that I didn't have any additional questions. So I certainly appreciate all your follow-up. And so I clearly support the bill as well. Any additional questions, Councilman?
Sure, Mr. Chair, thank you. Before we get to, we have an amendment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, before we get to the amendment, just want to first thank Councilman Quirk, Councilman Marks for your leadership on open space in general. I know it's something that the two of you tackled in your first term, and your leadership on the issue has bipartisan leadership, I might say, as well. has extended into your second term, and I think probably into your third term as well. So thank you for your leadership on open space. And as far as neighbor space is concerned, each of our districts has benefited from the works of neighbor space, and I think that when you look at organizations, whether they be nonprofit organizations or even private sector organizations, when they reach a level of success, they have to evolve into something else. And when you have government oversight of a nonprofit like this, it's important for us as a body to make sure that the regulations and requirements under which they operate evolve with them, so they can continue their success and continue to grow and serve the public well. So that's why I think this is an important bill.
Thank you. Councilman Quirk?
Just one more thing real quick, too. I do want to thank Councilwoman Allman, who did pick up this ball and ran with it, which was no easy task. It's quite complicated. But for sure, there's a lot more work that needs to be done. For example, really updating the open space manual, and there's still a fair amount of tough decisions that need to be
There always
made.
are.
Yeah, always are. But yeah, I do think Barb Hopkins does a great job, and Klaus Phillips, and you couldn't get a better board. I mean, NeighborSpace truly a lot of really dedicated, mostly volunteers, and a lot of work Barb's done has really been on her own time. Let's be honest about it, and so we do appreciate that, Barb, and thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you, Councilman Quirk. Any additional questions or comments? Mr. Secretary, please read the amendment.
Yes.
Read the amendments to
There's
Bill
an amendment to the bill in your
92-18.
books. It's sponsored by Council Members Marks and Quirk. The introductory bill had proposed to increase from 30 to 50% the amount of the funds that are allocated to NeighborSpace that may be used for operating costs. This amendment would remove the cap entirely so that there's no limitation on the use of those funds.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve amendment to Bill 92-18?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendments to Bill 92-18.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The amendment to Bill 92-18 is passed. Is there a motion to approve Bill 92-18 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 92-18 as amended.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. 92-18 as amended is passed. The council will now consider all fiscal matters. Extensive testimony was taken at the council's work session on November the 13th. The witnesses who testified at the work session are available to restate their testimony if needed. If a council member has any questions regarding a particular fiscal matter, that item will be discussed as a separate matter, and as I understand, there are some discussions. So, on that note, we will have a vote on fiscal matters 1 through 3 and 5 through 10, and then we will pull out fiscal matter number 4. So, any questions or comments on fiscal matters 1 through 3 and 5 through 10?
I'll move 1 through 3, and then I'll move 5 through 10. Yeah.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on fiscal matters 1 through 3 and 5 through 10.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Fiscal matters 1 through 3 and 5 through 10 are approved. And now we will call up Keith Dorsey to talk about fiscal matter number 4.
Fiscal matter number 4 is a contract with American Traffic Solutions Incorporated.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Dorsey.
Chairman and members of the County Council. This item, fiscal matter number 4, is a contract for our red light speed camera enforcement program. It is a request for a period of initial 5-year term and then 3 2-year possible amendments. The contract is basic and standard in terms of the similar to the existing program that is in place right now. But in terms of this bid that we received for this one, came in $752,000 a year less than the alternative bid that we were looking at, as well as for stable camera program. And this particular contract is one where we put some teeth in there to ensure that the quality of the camera pictures are remaining high and that they remain operable. I know that in terms of, for some people, there has been some misunderstanding about one portion of the contract. The contract says specifically, as the notes indicate, the contract will provide for critical site analysis up to 270 potential red light and speed camera sites. That is similar to the language that's in the existing contract. That is saying that the contractor will help the police department identify valid sites by just doing speed testing. It is not an indication of any plans to increase the number of sites. Right now, there are 10 red light camera sites with no intention to increase that number. And there are, while there are 78 speed camera sites that are ready for deployment, the county only deploys 36 cameras a day, and there's no intention to change that number. So we just wanted to hopefully clarify those points for the council.
Thank you. Mr. Dorsey, are there any questions? So,
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll ask Mr. Dorsey for, I'll torture him a little bit more with, I think, asking him the 4th time. So definitively and unequivocally, if I could get that word out, this contract does not represent any expansion whatsoever beyond the existing program, 36 and 10. That's the way it stays.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'll ask the question. And if a future administration would somehow change that, that is something the council could always legislate, a cap, correct?
If that was the desire of the council at that point in time, I believe that the council would look at in terms of, we often get input from some of the council members as to the site location. And so in terms of responding to that need, naturally we would consider that response initially within the 36, but if it was the council's desire to expand, we would have no problem with that. But it is not our plans to, or in terms of any intention to move beyond what we have right now. And I believe I've sent a letter, an email to the council shortly before the meeting stating as such.
I just there is no appetite for a massive expansion of the program. But you're saying that the council could legislatively place a cap on this in the future?
I'll let the county attorney answer that
That's
question.
something we could always do.
Well, you could, I mean, and you've done it in the past.
done it in the
I think
past.
there's a cap. I'm actually not sure what it would mean for this particular contract, but generally speaking, you could, for sure.
I think, first of all, I want to thank the administration, particularly you, Mr. Dorsey, for clarifying it. I think where some of the confusion came was when people were seeing that that 278 locations, and the language spoke of locations, but it didn't speak of cameras. But then at another part, it talked about our contract with the vendor to provide the equipment and maintenance on the cameras. So then when people saw the 278, they thought that this was a major expansion, even though in the bill we even used the wording at some point, expansion of the cameras. So one more time before I get to Councilman Quirk, no expansion of the 36 and 10 cameras we have today.
No, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Quirk.
Just more of a policy thing than this contractor. You know, I know how the administration appropriates money. You know, that's mostly county executive's prerogative. I know that the revenue generated from this speed cameras has been going toward police body cameras. And I just think in the future, and I know this is a discussion for the future Baltimore County Executive Johnny Oshefsky, but something that over and over in the last 6 or 12 months, I hear almost every single day from constituents all the time is speeding in neighborhoods, slowing down traffic. It's one of the top things I actually do hear from constituents. And so in the future, and I know this is a discussion for a future county executive, but I would definitely like to see some money set aside for more traffic calming, because that's clearly an issue that I don't think is going away. I feel like I hear it more now than I did even 8 years ago.
I'd like to point, in terms of this contract, the revenues would go for that, currently for that restricted purpose in terms of body-worn cameras, which is an operating budget item. The things like traffic calming, there is a portion of the capital budget that's there for that. If there is a desire to expand that capital allocation for traffic calming systems, that is, yes, something that you would want to bring up with the administration in terms of the capital budget side, not so much the operating budget side.
Councilman Katz?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Dorsey, is it true that the body cameras are leased, or does the county own them?
That's a lease arrangement in terms of you're renting. They can, they will change over as we need to. They maintain the cameras. So as one wears out, another one is replaced.
So did the county ever consider purchasing the cameras?
That would be a huge investment that then we would have to then continue to buy new ones as they would wear out. It was the maintenance agreement that we have with the contractor, the vendor. It works well in terms of saving costs in terms of that. And it was when the county decided to change over from being a short-term lease to a longer-term lease that we actually affected several $1 million of savings by doing that and by extending the lease agreement, the rental agreement.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Are we absolutely positively clear that there's no expansion?
Absolutely positive.
Okay.
You can write it in blood.
Is there a motion to approve fiscal matter number 4?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on fiscal matter 4.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Fiscal matter 4 is approved. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey, for your help on this issue. The chair will now consider all miscellaneous business. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
Resolution 112-18 is a resolution to adopt a debt policy for Baltimore County.
Mr. Dorsey.
Again, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, the administration is requesting approval of the debt policy for Baltimore County. We thought it was important to bring it to you at this time just to update the major change that occurred since the last time we had a policy for debt. And that is that earlier this year, the county adopted a level for the revenue stabilization reserve account, raising it from what was in the law 5% to 10%, and then also establishing that the minimum level of the for the floor for that account would be 7%, and that it would not remain the 7% more than 2 consecutive years. There have been some other minor adjustments along the way, but that's the primary issue with this debt policy change.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Are there any questions, comments? Councilman Quirk?
I guess just a question for you, like we talked about in the work session, any issue if we had the Spending Affordability Committee look at this as well and then come back and revisit this, or is there a time element in this that we really need to meet?
There was no time element. We were just trying to clean up some old paperwork to make sure that the policy was in line with what the council had already approved earlier this year.
Because, I mean, I read over the debt policy, and I think everything we're trying to do here makes sense. I think having the spending affordability look at it with the auditor's office and talk about this in our spending affordability committee is never a bad thing. As long as there's not a time urgency, I'd respectfully say if it's okay, we'll have the spending affordability committee look at this, come back and, bring it before the council. And just to make sure, I mean, again, I think everything in here is very sound and makes a lot of sense to do. But I just want to see if it's possible we could defer this until spending affordability, everybody look at it one more time. It's a big policy, so just, if that's okay, like to ask if we can defer it until after spending affordability.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the mechanism, how you defer, table it, or you want us to bring it back, how do you want us to do that?
You want to make a motion, Mr. Quirk?
Well, I'd ask Mr. Petticord, can we just defer this? I mean, or there's something we have to?
This is a resolution. The council can defer it to a later date and ask the administration to resubmit it at that time.
Do I have to move to defer?
It would be helpful, I think, to make a motion and approve it that way, yes.
I'd respectfully ask if we could defer this until after the Spending Affordability Committee meets, because we were talking a lot about the Prague report and our debt and everything else, and can't hurt to have the Spending Affordability Committee look at this one more time. But I think this is a pretty easy thing to approve. I would just say I'd like to just have the committee look at it and talk to you a little more in detail on it, too. So
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Katz?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins? Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so we're going to table Resolution 112-18.
Defer.
Defer. Defer. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 113-18 is a resolution to adopt the Baltimore County 2019-2028 Solid Waste Management Plan.
Mr. Walsh, how are you doing today?
Great, Mr. Chairman, members of the council.
Good. I actually received 2 phone calls today about this.
Good.
I was sort of shocked. Go right ahead.
We're asking for approval of Resolution 113-18, which would adopt the 2019 to 2028 Solid Waste Management Plan for the county. Code of Maryland regulations, it requires that the county adopt a plan which covers a period of 10 years, and this plan meets the state's requirements. Last plan was adopted through Resolution 101-08. This plan was developed with substantial citizen input, and just to highlight some of that input, county held 5 public discussion meetings at libraries throughout the county. A solid waste management citizens review committee was put together with 17 citizens with various backgrounds who had interest in the solid waste process. And that committee was formed to provide that input, and a letter of support from that committee was in your package. Formal public hearing was held on March 28th of this year, and finally a phone survey of 223 residents was done. And once again, all that public input was built into the document which you have in your package.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 113-18?
Move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 113-18.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Ayes have it. Resolution 113-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 11518 is sponsored by Councilman Marks. This is a resolution to approve the refund of property taxes collected from Alan Fox, who is a disabled veteran.
I'll move it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 115-18.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Aye.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Mr. Secretary, Resolution 115-18 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Resolution 116-18 is sponsored by Councilwoman Allman. This is a resolution to approve the refund of property taxes collected from Sheila Hill, who is a disabled veteran.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is my privilege to move Resolution 116-18.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 116-18.
Mrs. Allman?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Quirk?
Yes.
Mr. Catch?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mrs. Bevins?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 116-18 is passed. Let me see. I believe we have some additional items.
We do.
Starting with, before we get to our speakers.
Mr. Secretary, there is one additional item. It's a late addition to your agenda. It is Resolution 117-18. As you know, the Legislative Council and Secretary to the County Council, Tom Petticord, has indicated he is retiring at the end of this month. Resolution 117-18 is a resolution of the Baltimore County Council recognizing the 37 years of outstanding and distinguished service of Thomas J. Petticord, Jr. And if I may, I can read the rest of the resolution.
Please.
Please, sir.
Whereas the early part of Tom Petticord's legal career was spent working in the governor's office under Governor Marvin Mandel, and whereas he then moved into the next phase of his career in private practice, opening an office in Towson that became Marlowe, Petticord & Young, and handled a variety of legal matters. And whereas Tom Petticord began performing legal work to assist the Baltimore County Council, and on February 18, 1981, he was hired part-time as an attorney for the County Council. And whereas Tom literally created the position of legislative counsel, providing the council with its own legislative attorney devoted to providing legal opinions and advice to the members directly and drafting the council's legislation. And whereas he was appointed the acting secretary to the County Council on April 1st, 1991, and then combined the two positions and was named Legislative Council Secretary in June of 1991. And whereas since Tom Petticord began his service with the County Council, he has served under 32 different council members over parts of 10 terms and 7 county executives, and has always exhibited the highest standards of professionalism to his client and to the citizens of Baltimore County, and has demonstrated the best of public service. And whereas the County Council believes it is appropriate this evening to formally recognize and celebrate the skills, contributions, loyalty, and years of great service of Thomas J. Petticord, Jr., now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of Baltimore County on this 19th day of November 2018 that the Baltimore County Council Library, which itself was restored and established almost 30 years ago from wood paneling taken from the former B&O Railroad Building boardroom, shall from this date forward be known formally as the Thomas J. Petticord Jr. Library. And the central staff would urge your support of this resolution.
Let's see if we can get the votes for this resolution. Let me, I guess before we call for a vote, we will also add amongst your list of accomplishments, of course, is the historian. Having been here for so long, you were able to tell us all what worked in the past, what didn't work, and how things happened, which I think is very, very critical as we were maneuvering our way through various legislation, many of which never saw the light of day because of the history of it. On that note, I'm going to open it up to Councilman Marks.
Thank you. 32 council members. I actually got 8 county executives, because Mr. Homan was the acting county executive for a time, and 6 presidents. What an amazing history of service you've provided to Baltimore County. For me, you've kind of almost been like a father figure. I've gone to you on a lot of questions and a lot of issues. You've brought integrity, intelligence, and grace and polish to your position. You're one of our greats, and you have served this county faithfully for over half of its time as a charter government. That's pretty amazing. I'm also very proud to call you a constituent. We have periodic openings on boards and commissions from time to time. And, we have a vacancy on the planning board or the physical fitness council or anything, you may get a call. But Tom, it's been an absolute honor to work with you. Thank you for everything you've done for me personally and for this council in general.
Sure. Councilwoman Bevins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Pettigrew, let's not forget the Revenue Authority. There you go, all that golf. Yes. You would be a perfect fit for that. I just want to thank you personally for the last 8 years. I know I came in like a whirlwind around you, and thank you for thank you for always being calm when I wasn't, and thank you for always talking me off the edge. I really appreciate that, and I'm certainly going to miss you. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Yes, sir. Councilwoman Allman, then you.
Mr. Petticord, out of those 32 councils, we're still your favorite, though, right?
Of course.
I was going to ask who's the fairest of them all.
I want to thank you as a freshman coming in 2010 with Kathy being the first 2 women that you ever had to deal with together on the council. I know it was quite interesting for you, but I want to say thank you for your guidance and your patience and your kindness always and your professionalism and for trying to keep me out of trouble. Greatly appreciated. You didn't always succeed, but it's greatly appreciated.
Councilman Quirk.
Yeah, Mr. Petticord, it's been a real honor to work with you. I think everybody's shared a lot of the same sentiment. You're very steady, and sometimes in this job, everything is not steady. Some things are, pretty chaotic at times, and usually we wind up figuring out a way to make things work. Not always easy, not always agree, but you kind of definitely held the glue together when sometimes there was no glue. So, and clearly the knowledge that you have, it's like being an institution. It's almost like a library. When you retire, we lose almost like a library. So it's fitting that we're naming the library after you. It really is fitting. And I mean, you're a man who I really have the utmost respect for, of great integrity and really sound advice from the legal perspective and from the policy perspective. You're a great friend and mentor, and so I want to wish you well. And we're all hoping that you're not going to write a book after this, because it would be a fascinating read, but maybe that's part of the library being named after you. That might be a friendly agreement. But no, thank you for your wonderful service to not only the council, but to Baltimore County residents. So thank you.
Councilman Katz.
Yes, thank you very much. Tom, I want to wish you a very happy and long retirement. I hope that you and your wife will travel and enjoy yourselves. I think that's an absolute must. And I don't think people realize that you and your staff, all that you do to keep this organization running as smoothly as it does. And I want to thank you for your leadership there and your staff as well. Do you have any concerns about your possible replacement?
None whatsoever, Councilman, although I'd feel even better if I'd had an entire building named after me. But
Only takes a bill.
We can amend the resolution. Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go right ahead.
I'm just going to call you
The
Tom.
night is still young.
Right,
The night is still young.
Right. I'm just going to call you Tom because in the past 4 years you've become a friend, and I think I can just call you Tom, even though that we can also call you Mr. Secretary, or as Arnold Jablon would describe you, the head draftsman according to the county code. You're not the counsel to the council. So that's an inside joke between Arnold and Tom and I. But when I think about coming into office, as Vicki mentioned, as a freshman, you're drinking from a fire hose. You're immediately thrown into confirmation hearings. You're almost immediately thrown into your first budget process. And unless you've been through it before, you really don't know what you're getting into. So those phone calls and emails and things that we can make to you, and because you've educated and mentored the staff so well, we can call any one of those folks, and I did it throughout the past 4 years, to just get answers on things. And you've really set the tone for the council and how we're supposed to do things, how we're supposed to act, the knowledge that we're supposed to have. And when I think about you and the last 4 years, there's some words that come to mind. One are begrudging parent to all of us, certainly mentor, advisor, and oftentimes referee. And I sort of have some words ringing in my ears that I've heard you repeat to me and other members countless times, and it goes something like, "You don't want to do that." And
he says that a lot.
Am I not wrong?
I think we've heard that one before.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I can do that too.
Okay. Well, the jury's out on that. The jury's out on it. So, but Tom, thank you for everything and your service to the county and to the county council, and everything. I can echo everything that everything's been said about you, and I'm tempted to go on just to see if we can get a tear out of you. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for everything, and just the best wishes for, as Wade said, a long retirement.
And I'm going to add a few comments of my own. I certainly remember plenty of times you saying that. You don't want to do that. But, when I first took this position, I, of course, had a lot of questions. And I've had a relationship with Kevin Kamenetz for some time. So I asked Kevin about things about the job. So Kevin would go halfway through things, and then he said, listen. Just ask Petticourt. Just listen to Petticourt. Listen to Petticourt. He'll keep you straight. Listen to Petticourt. So you came highly recommended. That, and then having been here, it became clear that you have been able to, like it was so eloquently stated earlier, provide the glue to hold this whole thing together. It's not easy trying to keep us away from ideas that we come up with. And I have to admit that I've called you many days, and to your credit, I mean, I've called you on Saturdays and Friday nights, and you've always answered the phone. So that level of dedication to all the members here is really something that, we really, really appreciate. Your service to the county, your service to the council, it has paid dividends. It has made a difference. So many times you've sort of laid the law down. This is what we do here. We don't do those things here. We don't do that. And I think that is, has provided a nice focus for all of us to sort of stay focused, because I know myself, I could come up with some stuff. But luckily we had you around to sort of keep me on the straight and narrow. Are there any additional questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I thank you very much. You do come up with some stuff, that's for sure. And I thank you all for the very kind comments, some of which I hope are true. But it's been my privilege, honestly, to represent the legislative branch for since, in one capacity or another, since 1981. And it's I didn't realize it was 32. I never counted the number of people myself, but that's what you were doing with the camera. Okay.
Some more memorable than others.
That's a lot. It's a lot of years. A lot of people, a lot of good friends, not only in the legislative branch but also in the executive branch. And it was challenging, and most of the time it was fun. I don't guarantee that I might not write down some notes and pass them on, but I'll be discreet as always. And I very much appreciate the comments. It's been fun, and it's time to do some other things, and including some travel, and enjoy the children and grandchildren. And I appreciate most of all the friendships, and I appreciate the fact that you recognize the staff. They make it go. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 117-18?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll of Resolution 117-18.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Quirk.
Certainly.
Mrs. Allman. Mr. Katz.
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Most excellently.
Mrs. Bevins.
You bet.
Mr. Crandall.
Aye.
Well, at least it passed. Ayes have it.
Yes.
And while we are here, we
Are you gonna say something?
no, after you. I'm waiting for you
Oh,
to
okay.
make your move.
I'm going to make a move. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
I'm going to come down to the floor because I also have a special resolution to honor Fred Homan this evening. I know you won't want to come up here.
What happened?
We on? Very good.
Somebody fell.
Fred, I have a special resolution from the Baltimore County Council honoring and recognizing Mr. Fred Homan this evening for his 40 years of outstanding and devoted service to Baltimore County government and all the citizens of Baltimore County. Whereas Fred Homan began his career with Baltimore County government in 1978 in what was called the Office of Central Services, dealing with the county's fleet of cars and trucks. Didn't know that. And whereas he then moved on to the county budget office and was the investment supervisor from June of 1985 to March of 1988. The deputy director of the budget from March of 1988 to December 1989. If any of this is wrong, blame it on the staff. The director of budget from 89 to 96, and when the Budget and Finance offices merged on July 1, 1996, Fred was named Director of the Office of Budget and Finance. And whereas in July of 2007, Fred Homan was named the county's administrative officer and has held that title ever since, leading the county's day-to-day operations, and during the month of May 2018, he took on the difficult role as acting county executive after the tragic death of County Executive Kevin Cabinets and the line-of-duty death of police officer Amy Caprio. And whereas in every position held with Baltimore County during his long tenure, Fred Homan exhibited a tireless work ethic, devotion to the well-being of the county, its employees, and all its citizens, and a distinguished stewardship of county finances. Now therefore be it resolved by the members of the County Council that we join with all those gathered here on this 19th day of November 2018 in the County Council chamber in thanking and paying tribute to this outstanding public servant and recognizing his unwavering commitment to Baltimore County and wishing him health and happiness during the next phase of his life's journey. Fred, thank you.
Well,
Would you mind very much?
oh, no, go right ahead. I have a few things I'm saying anyway. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to wish the new county executive, the members of his administration, and the county council the very best going forward. When I recently spoke with the new executive, I advised him of the fiscal situation he and the council will be facing as the county approaches the FY20 budget. We've been building toward this over the last several years in large part, as you know, because delayed reimbursement from the state of matching school construction funds. And as a result, the county has had to forward fund using borrowed funds. As has been mentioned here, Public Resources Advisory Group, the county's financial advisor, has recently issued a debt affordability study, and I realize you all haven't had the time to take a look at it, but as you do, you'll see that what will come up over the next few months as you approach the FY20 budget will be a question as to the value of the county's AAA rating. And that's what I'd like to comment on for a second. If the county were to lose the AAA rating, it does not mean, right, that you have to borrow any less money. As a matter of fact, there are only two ways to borrow less money. And one of those ways, right, is to substitute bond dollars in with tax dollars. And the other way, of course, is to cut the capital program significantly. Otherwise, you're simply borrowing the same amount of money you'd otherwise borrow, except you're doing it at a higher cost, which ends up building down the road each time you issue at a higher interest rate. And I'm certainly not suggesting the gutting of the capital program, which you all know is heavily weighted towards school construction and renovations. This operating and capital budget is scrubbed every year by the staff of the Office of Budget and Finance, and then scrubbed again by the Auditor's Office on behalf of the County Council. To anyone that has heard that Baltimore County has not raised the property tax rate or the income tax rate for more than 25 years, right, that the fact that it's being scrubbed that hard every year should not be a surprise. The county has lived up to spending affordability and debt affordability to the best of its ability. What we have right now is a revenue problem. In fact, 4 of the jurisdictions in the Big 7 have had the maximum rate of income tax at 3.2% as compared to 2.83% for the county, and they've had that rate since calendar 2013 at least. What I'm saying about the revenue issue certainly does not mean that the Office of the Budget and Finance or the Auditor's Office are going to stop scrubbing the budget. But the returns to be received are very small compared to what the county's facing. I have volunteered my services of any assistance I can provide to the new executive, and I do the same right now to the council and to each member of the council. What you face now going forward is going to make a very significant difference in not only the fiscal situation of this county, but the lives of the citizens of this county, without question. And I wish you the best, and once again offer whatever voluntary assistance I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
let me just take an opportunity to thank you for your service, your leadership, your stewardship over Baltimore County and its finances. I remember talking to you about a situation where Baltimore County was basically one payroll away from bankruptcy, and you came in.
That was some time ago. That was
Absolutely.
25
Oh, no.
30 years
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was quite some time ago. Many years ago, but nonetheless, we were there.
Yeah, we were there.
And you came in and you made some changes that were necessary. And over your 40 years, you've been through some ups, some downs. You've been through a near bankruptcy. You've been through a few recessions. And you told me one time that basically you and Keith Dorsey would have to deal with the cards that were dealt to you by, let's see, none other than county executives, economic conditions, natural and man-made disasters. But you did it all, and we are better for it. And I guess want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you've done for the citizens of Baltimore County. It can't be easy, but you've done it. And to be quite frank, on the many occasions, people would love to blame you for everything, whether it's snowing or raining. It's all somehow your fault. But I think it's important that today we recognize all the contributions you have made to Baltimore County and the quality of life that the citizens enjoy here in Baltimore County. Because on so many occasions, things could have gone one way or the other, but the fact that you were there, you and your team was able to keep us going in the right path or in the right direction, despite it all. Councilman Quirk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it is interesting tonight. We really have two people that represent institutions retiring. We have Mr. Homan with the executive branch. We have Mr. Petticord with the county council. So truly, this is a major evening for the county. And I did want to say, Mr. Homan, I think if there's any possible county employee that knows every possible detail in Baltimore County, that might be you. And so truly, the information that you have inside your head is quite extensive and incredibly detailed, basically on possibly everything in the county. And I mean that. I mean, I think from a detail level and a policy level, you definitely have understood the good, the bad, and the not so good. And I also want to recognize that somebody has to be the no guy, and how many times have probably you heard from county executives saying, thanks, Fred, for making my tough decisions so I didn't have to. Probably too many to count. And so I do hope that you lend your knowledge and service to the county even after you retire, because I think the county could really benefit from a lot of the information that you probably know better than anybody else. And so we do hope that we can take you up in your offer, and we do hope that you'll be a force come the budget debates that we will certainly have in what we have to do, not what we want to do, but some things we just have to do for the sake of the county. And I hope that we can count on your vocal support when we need it. And I look forward to many more detailed conversations with you as we have to now go up to New York City and talk to the bond rating people and everything else. So look forward to conversations continuing.
I will gladly help in any way that I can, sir. I'd like to, if I may, just for a second, follow up on something you said, Mr. Chairman. The time that you were referencing goes back, right, to the early 90s. Well, it's important for me to point this out to you for a couple of reasons. One, and you mentioned Mr. Dorsey, and I'm glad you did, because he and I have been together for 35 years. and they have been my privilege that whole time. And we were here back in February of '93 when we needed to lay employees off. And that period of time, right, set the stage for many changes, right, going forward. And right now, I think, right, I seriously believe that you're facing another one of those opportunities. Right, back then, in the late '80s, right, some very bad choices were made. Right, and you have an opportunity not to repeat the mistakes that were made back then that led to the laying off of 400 employees at that time. It's something that guided just about every decision that Keith Dorsey and I have made ever since then. So, but I will tell you that you have a wonderful Director of Budget and Finance, and he will be here, right, to assist during this process, and I will do anything to assist him and you, right, throughout this process.
Well, thank you, Mr. Holman, and I think it's a testament to you that, you know, even with the most recent recession, when just about every jurisdiction around was furloughing people, if not laying some people off, and not one single employee in Baltimore County was furloughed or received a pay cut. So that's a testament to your stewardship. Councilman Katz?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Fred, I want to thank you for your years of service to Baltimore County. I'm sure you already know that your name is well known in all over the state, especially in Annapolis. And people understand and know how much you've contributed to Baltimore County and, in essence, to the state of Maryland. I want to thank you for your willingness to help the new county executive and the council in the coming years with the challenges that we have in front of us regarding the budget and the fiscal difficulties. The one thing that I think you're going to have a problem with, though, is that talking to the the Lake County executive, he always talked about, well, Fred's here Saturday and Sunday. I can't persuade him to take off. He just is here 7 days a week. And you heard what I told Tom Petticord to take time for yourself, travel. I know it's not going to be easy. Anybody with a work ethic as you have, it's you know, you can't wake up one morning and say, well, that's it, then I don't have to go to work. I mean, you're going to have to really make some plans ahead of time, whether it be a cruise or whatever, and treat yourself. Treat yourself, because you certainly deserve it.
Councilman Allman?
Thank you. Mr. Holman, I know that we've had our ups and downs, but I also know that we have a lot of things in common that we've talked about before. The one thing that clearly stands out to me has always been your love of Baltimore County. And for that, we're all very appreciative. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Holman, I think a lot of the members up here can relate. Sometimes we have to be the no guy or the no woman as well, and we have to, and you just can't please everyone. And when you and Mr. Dorsey are dealing with finite budgets, finite resources to fix problems, take on requests, I just think that you've done a very difficult job for a really long time. And I echo the sentiments of Councilwoman Allman that, you know, your love of Baltimore County and the fact that your light is on in your office, you know, well into the evening shows your dedication to the job. And you know, I think we've had our differences here and there too over the last 4 years that I've been in office, but I can also point to successes in our district that I know that you were integral in making happen. And one is figure out how to forward fund these schools. And Dundalk Elementary under construction now, 2 more elementary schools in the district coming online. That's because you were able to figure it out. The rat eradication program that has proven successful. You figured out how to get it funded. You gave the charge to the agency director to put a program together that we could pilot, and once it was piloted and successful, you found a way to fund that too. So I just want to thank you for your many years of service, and I think Tom is right. I mean, this, to lose, the institutional knowledge that is within you and Mr. Petticord, and to say goodbye to it all in one night is, it's kind of a historic evening. So thank you again, Fred.
Thank you.
Councilman Martin.
I'll wrap things up. Mr. Homan, thank you for your support for things big and small. Big being the school construction program, which is a program of incredible magnitude that you clearly were the main engineer of helping to get funded. But also small things. I recall the Indian Rock Park Trail, which was not going to get done. You helped get it done, and thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you all.
Councilwoman Bev.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think everything's been covered, so I'm just going to talk on a personal note. Fred, thank you. I know I've known you the longest out of all the council members, 14 years. And Fred always amazed me when I worked for the former county executive, Jim Smith. Fred's office was across the hall from mine, and everything was on a shelf. He stood all day long, and everything was just on a shelf, and he knew the order of everything, and it was this deep and about 4 feet long, and nothing was on the desk. Everything was on this shelf, and the phone was on the wall, and it was just always amazing to watch you work, Fred. And you also had given me great advice while I was in the county executive's office. I mean, when I was downstairs. I remember when I got elected. I don't know if you remember this or not. You said, Kathy, you need to remember one thing. You are now a member of the county council. You are not a mini county executive. Don't forget it. So I tried to remember that, Fred. But as we will miss Tom saying, you don't really want to do that or don't do that, I will miss you saying, what you need to understand, Kathy. You always said it, and you were right. I needed to understand particular things that I didn't understand, and I just appreciate all the time that you took with me. I get you, Fred, and I'm going to miss you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may end just on a lighter note, I think we're all aware of the success of the pig roundup program in Baltimore County. So, Mr. Homan, do you want to dispel any rumors that in your retirement you will be going into the pork business?
Yes, I'd love to dispel those rumors.
Okay. Yeah. But I know you were, David said, issues big and small, and, that was small. Got a lot of press on that one issue. But I know that you were integral in that, so thank you for your help on that as well.
Well, Fred, we decided to take up a collection, and we know your love for horses. So we were going to buy you a horse, and then we start debating about race horses and better horses and geldings and all kind of stuff about horses that we don't know anything about. So then someone came up with the idea, since we only came up with for like $13 for the horse. Maybe we just give you a whole herd of horses. So here's your horses. It's a new millennium, so we can just go to it's all virtual nowadays. I mean, nobody want to really get on a horse anyway. I mean, it's a bumpy ride. So those are your horses right there, Fred. I'll send you the link. You can look at them whenever you like.
You could buy a DVD of the Black Stallion.
That's right. It's a whole bunch of them. Look at that. You got a whole herd of horses. Okay. Oh boy, we're still not done.
Yeah,
We have the
still one
speakers,
more.
but we have another one.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to invite you all up to the Agricultural Center, where we do have a herd serving veterans, many of whom are employed by Baltimore County and the police fire departments. We also have an EGALA program that recently started serving some of our social service workers who have a very, very difficult job, as you well know. And we also have a program up there serving underprivileged children out of Baltimore City. And so it's a wonderful herd. Horses, retired race horses from a thoroughbred rescue, Foxy G. A few horses from Sagamore Farm, which is very loyal to its horses. And then we also have some non-thoroughbreds up there, including 2 minis, right, for the children. So you should come up there and take a look at them. I'll leave you to do that.
Sounds like a good idea. That's it.
That's right, volunteering.
Councilwoman Bevins, you've been doing such a fine job tonight. Just keep on going. Don't stop.
It's just been such an emotional night. This is just too much for me all night. Well, as many of you know, this is the last council meeting that the Honorable Vicki Almond, I know, right, will be here. We're just going to put these down for a minute. So you stand up here with me. So Vicki and I came onto the council in 2010 together, and the first 2 women to kind of broke that one glass ceiling. 2 women served on the council at the same time, and she was the dainty one from the west side, and I was the rough and tough one from the east side. And but I have to tell you, we were a great pair, and we really have enjoyed all working with you. Vicki has been brave. She has been relentless, strong. She left a very safe seat that she surely would have been reelected for, to go out there and do something brave and run for county executive. And I admire you for doing that, and I know your colleagues do as well. And it was the right thing to do. You're still a winner in my eyes. And it's really been nice. We haven't always agreed on everything. They thought we would, since we were the only 2 girls, but we haven't. But we've always been able to move on afterwards, like most of us have, and I think that's just something to be said about us. I'm certainly going to miss you. I cannot believe you're leaving me with all these men.
If anyone can handle them, you can.
Feel sorry for us.
So, I have appreciated you on the council. You've been a confidant. You've been somebody that I could laugh with and cry with behind closed doors, because we've never let them see us cry. And,
Except for now.
Yeah, and it's not always been easy, but we've always wanted the same thing, and it's the best thing for our constituents and the districts that we represent. So Vicki, it's been an absolute privilege and honor to work with you. I'll miss you on this dais, but I know that we will be friends for a lifetime. And your district is better now than what it was 8 years ago, because of all the wonderful things that you've done, and just economic development itself has been wonderful for your area. And I'm going to leave room for everybody else to talk, but have flowers. So I'd like to present these to you on behalf of all the county council, and thank you for your dedication, and I'm going to miss you.
You know, Kathy, when you started out talking about her being a dainty from the west side, and you're being tough from the east side, I was thinking, this is the makings of a TV show or something. But Councilman Quirk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I know Kathy and David and Vicki and I all came in together, where we had Todd Huff and Johnny O and Ken Oliver originally, and that was quite a learning curve. But I affectionately say I was sort of kind of part of the Women's Caucus for a while.
You always have.
And which is not a bad place to be. And Vicki and Kathy and I, especially in that first term, and David many times too. I think we were all like 90% voting together many times, and very bipartisan and very collegial. And Vicki dragged us all into maybe the toughest county council decision ever, which was Foundry Row. You know, and now we have a Wegmans because of that, but I really do think that may have been the toughest, hardest vote ever, because you had such huge constituencies, you know, for it and against it, and Vicki never wavered. And that was and believe me, I go into Wegmans all the time, and there's a billion people in there, and some of them I know opposed it strongly, and now they shop there, which is always interesting. But that's a huge economic engine for the county, and it's a wonderful place at Foundry Row. And but that was definitely that was by far and away the hardest thing I've ever had to decide on the short term on the council. And Vicki, you're a great friend. You know, we really get along great, and always affectionately have joke around, and well, we have a lot of fun too. I mean, there's county councils very, very serious at times, and lots of disagreements, and I don't think we've disagreed on many things, which is always cool. But you know, I hope that you know don't go away. I hope you come back and you know maybe join Bob Latshaw, who's not here tonight for some reason. I don't know why. But maybe you and Fred and Tom can all join us in the back sometimes with Mr. Latshaw, which I don't think we'll ever see, but I'm just putting out there. And yeah, and as Kathy said correctly, so you could easily have been in that seat for the rest of your life, you know, if you wanted to, easily. And so I do want to wish you well. I hope to see you a lot more, and I really enjoyed working with you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilman Katz?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vicki, I first want to thank you for your 8 years of service to the people of District 2, which of course is neighboring my district. And when I look at your career over the last 8 years, the only thing that I will say is that Wegmans in Hunt Valley is better than Wegmans in Owings.
We're going to have to disagree on that one. We're just going to have to disagree.
I think ours is bigger.
It is bigger. I'll give you that. It's bigger. It's bigger.
And
that was on purpose.
That was on purpose. What, the one, ours is bigger on purpose?
Ours is a little smaller on
Small,
purpose.
okay, okay. But, well, we'll leave that to the side. But you care so much about our children in this county, no doubt about that. And I know that you played a role in the resource officers that now serve in all of our high schools, middle schools, and some of our elementary schools, because you had the foresight to know that we would have to do what's necessary to protect our children in the schools. And secondly, you have a concern about children coming to school hungry. And you know, we appreciate all the work you've done to try to get children the meals that they need so that they can succeed in school. And I just want to thank you for everything you've done. And I think if you, well, I'll insult the rest of them, but your district, my district are the best looking districts in
No doubt about it.
Baltimore County. And I wish you all the best. And if you ever want to travel, come to me, I'll tell you. Where
Thank you, Laidlaw. Thank you.
Let me add also, Vicki is my neighbor to the north. And let me just say what Foundry Row has done for our joint communities, Owings Mills. Foundry Row was the first development to take place there in quite some time. We had a mall that was dying or dead, I should say, and it fostered the type of development that we are so proud of, and I now call the triple crown of Owings Mills and downtown Owings Mills, where we have the Metro Center, Baltimore County's only transit-oriented development with over $100 million of investment and counting, and the new Costco at Mill Station and Lowe's and all sorts of other things happening. So you can be proud when you go there knowing that you played a significant role in making all that happen. And I just want to take an opportunity to also thank you for all the help and guidance you've given me. We've always worked very well together. And one of the things you said to me early on that, you know, we weren't going to get in, we were unlike other people in the past, that there would be no dividing line on Reisterstown Road, that we would be welcome inside each other's districts, and as long as we were both working together. So I've attended meetings on your side of the district, you've attended meetings on my side, and it was always good knowing that you have a very good heart. You mean nothing but the very best. You want nothing but the very best for all the citizens of Baltimore County. Councilman Catch talked about your service in terms of the police program, the SROs, the hunger. I mean, you have a big heart, and you've worn it on your sleeve in terms of helping us do what's right here and inside the community. So I'm very happy and proud to have worked with you and look forward to working with you in the future as well. So. Councilman Marks.
Thank you very much. Thursday after the 2010 election, 5 freshmen gathered down there. Remember that? And now there's only 3 of us left from this class. Vicki, you have brought dignity and civility and a great degree of humanity and, yes, class to this council, pure class. Well, I often tell people, no one who has never served on the council knows what it's like to be on the council. You were always thinking about your job. You're always on call. And also, we are all just ordinary people put into positions with a degree of power. You have never forgotten your roots. That's what I've admired about you. You are the same person you are when you came to this council. And you have taken your experiences and you have done so many good works with them. And my colleagues have talked about some of them. Foundry Row, it's usually a signature development for you, but also medical marijuana, really paving the way for that here. Your work on tourism, your work on hunger, and your work on with SPICE, making sure that our kids remain safe. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. We will miss you tremendously, and I certainly hope we continue to see you in some capacity in Baltimore County. Best wishes to you and your family in the future.
Any additional comments?
Sure, Mr. Chair. I don't know, Vicki, I don't really like you that much.
I didn't think you did.
No, of course I do, and I very much so. And you join a council and you're not really sure what you're getting into. And I remember Kathy was the chair in our first year, and Julian and Wade in my first year. And you and Kathy took steps to build bridges between us. And some of those bridges along the way collapsed and had to be repaired and all that. But you all realize that this is a collegial body. It's only 7 of us, and we can disagree, but at the very least, we have to communicate with each other. And you've always had a willingness to do that. You've had the courage to move forward on issues that were important to you, even though there was disagreement. But you also had a willingness to seek common ground on those issues. And I think that's why you can look back on your legislative record here, not just your record of constituent services, which I know is strong, but your legislative record. You can look back and be really proud that you've accomplished all that you've accomplished, but not only were you willing to take the lead, but you were able to bring compromise and bring logic and, as David said, and civility into the process, which is sometimes flawed and antagonistic and all that, and you never let it really come to that. And I think because of your ability to treat people kindly and with respect, that unlike others who have left this office, you can leave knowing that you have the respect of all that you have touched inside and outside of government. So it's been an honor to serve with you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, please.
If I can. It has been the most amazing 8 years of my life. I have met so many incredible people, had so many incredible experiences, and found out so much about myself. It's been eye-opening, and I've treasured every moment of it. I know we had our moments where we all didn't agree on things, and that's part of it. And when Kathy and I did come on together, we kind of looked each other up and down and went, oh boy. And we have become such good friends, and I'm so grateful to you. To all the department heads, somebody's in here, I think. Is somebody? Yep, Steve's in here. To all the, and Keith, to all the department heads and the administration, thank you so much. To Lauren and Liz, for your guidance. You guys are so smart. For the central staff, for Chris and Teresa and Christy and Jamie. You guys work so hard and you make it easier for us. And for that, we're so grateful. Mr. Fields, thank you for all that you've done for me and for this council. Your guidance is so appreciated. And Mr. Bostwick and Mr. Petticord, you both are just amazing. And you have kept me out of trouble quite a bit. And I appreciate that. And some of the trouble you kind of helped me move into, which was also fun. And to my colleagues on this dais, no one knows what this job is like until you do it, no matter where you come from in life, no one knows. And I would say, in my opinion, that the integrity of all of you and the care that you give your constituents is just unbelievable. It's what we're supposed to do. It's who we're supposed to be. And all of us care in our own way. We may not always agree with each other, but you all care deeply. And I think one of the things that was hurtful during this campaign was just the nonsense that was out there. Because this is a team. You have integrity. You have faith, you have good hearts, and you always want to do the right thing for your constituents. And I've never been more proud to serve with anyone. You all are just amazing. And Joel, you're amazing too. I thank you so much for hanging with me. It's been amazing. I keep saying that word, but it truly has been, and I just want to thank you all so much for everything you said tonight. It means so much to me. And I'm very appreciative of this experience, and I thank you all for being a part of my life. You've enriched it and impacted it in so many ways. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicki. Now, Vicki, after that wonderful speech, I could not help but think, now we're going to ask you to stand up, click your heels 3 times, and say, there's no place like home. There's no place.
Well, you're not going to get rid of me that easily, okay?
I know what I was thinking when you were pointing everybody out.
I know I missed some, I'm sorry, but
No, that's wonderful. So, let me get back to business here. As is customary, anyone who has signed up to,
Do we have to move to adjourn?
oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Is there any further business to come before the council?
Heavens, I hope not.
None. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned. As is customary, anyone who has signed up prior to the meeting with the council secretary is allowed 3 minutes to speak. And we have a list of people who have signed up to speak. And I'm sorry you picked the night to speak where we were literally paying tribute and homage to over 100 plus years of service to Baltimore County. And when you take everybody we talked about retiring today, we talked about over 100 years of experience. So on that note, I'll call up Miss Terry Clymer. Was it a he? Terry Clymer. Good evening, sir. Speaking of 100 years.
Yep. Thank you for your patience.
Sure.
Proceed.
Yes, sir.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Terry Klima, here to register my opposition to the unauthorized and unlawful renaming of Robert E. Lee Park. For 2 years, I have sought information as to whether the county was given permission and authority to rename the park, the cost involved, and what potential legal and financial liability the county may have incurred. Obtaining this information was not easy, requiring the filing of over 25 public information act or follow-up requests. Sadly, transparency in Baltimore County government and compliance with the Maryland Public Information Act are not terms that come to mind based on my experience. For expediency, my findings will be in abbreviated form, but detailed documentation can be provided. The General Robert E. Lee Memorial Park is owned by Baltimore City and operated by Baltimore County under a license agreement. Pursuant to the order of Judge William L. Henderson and Baltimore City Ordinance Number 173, the park must remain the General Robert E. Lee Memorial Park in perpetuity, with a permanent plaque or other device informing the public of the designation. The county was denied permission to rename the park, with City Council President Jack Young citing concerns of a lawsuit. When questions as to why the park was renamed anyway, the county responded, and I'm going to quote, "To be clear, it became too cumbersome to rename the park, so we did not move forward with the request. We simply named the larger area Lake Roland." Numerous pronouncements of county officials heralding the official name change of the park dispel this unconvincing explanation. The county was unresponsive when asked whether any legal review or assessment of financial risk was obtained before renaming the park without permission. The license agreement, however, clearly establishes that Baltimore County shall indemnify and hold the city harmless for any and all demands or claims related to the park. In a bizarre twist, the county attorney recently forwarded to me an email from a board member of the Lake Roland Nature Council directed to county officials acknowledging that the board member and his wife made the decision to rename the park, had the historical legacy plaque removed, and turned over to the county executive for disposition. Are we to assume that the county stood idly by and allowed this to happen without providing oversight? Is such an assertion remotely plausible? The latest admission illustrates the urgent need for the county council to exercise its fiduciary responsibility as final fiscal authority. Immediate and decisive action is needed to rectify this clear violation by restoring the park's official name, recovering and reinstalling the historical legacy plaque, thereby mitigating the county's liability. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clymer. Mr. Jay Beringer.
Good evening. My name is Jay Behringer, and thank y'all for the opportunity to speak this evening. Quote, slavery is an undeniable fact of our history. The costly war fought to end it is also part of the nation's history. Neither will go away through cultural cleansing. Removing statues of Confederates and renaming buildings, and I would add parenthetically parks, are just a small part of the true agenda. That quote is from George Mason University Distinguished Professor of Economics, Walter Williams, who also happens to be African American. He obviously understands that Lee was neither an advocate nor a practitioner of slavery. Now, if history is subject to malleable definitions of modern enlightenment, where does it stop? The county seal with its heraldic crests are of the slaveholding Calvert and Crossland families. Marylanders in Lee's army wore the Botany Cross on their uniforms. It emblazoned General Bradley Johnson's headquarters flag, and the monument to the Confederate 2nd Maryland Infantry on Gettysburg Battlefield includes 4 Botany Crosses. Now, changing the name of Robert E. Lee Park is eerily reminiscent of the ancient Roman practice of damnatio memoriae. I was recently reminded of the insidiousness of this practice after seeing the 2015 movie Woman in Gold, in which journalist Hubertus Chernin tells Maria Altman, quote, "It wasn't enough to rob your family and destroy it. No, your family had to be eradicated." And that was when her family's artworks were plundered by the Nazis. An honorable and decent man worthy of emulation, as noted by American presidents and British prime ministers, Lee is being similarly eradicated with ruthless zeal to the detriment of American and Maryland history. If our nation and our state continue to destroy history, there will be no history from which to learn, and we know that adage about repetition. Professor Williams also observed, quote, "The challenges of rewriting American history are endless, going beyond relatively trivial challenges such as finding new pictures for our currency," unquote. Elizabeth Garrett White wanted to honor Lee with a monument. Like so many people throughout the world, she admired the general and college president as a great American. She stipulated that proceeds from the sale of her Mount Vernon Place estate be used for that purpose. Robert E. Lee Park met Mrs. White's requirement. Contrary to former Baltimore City Solicitor George Nilsson's assertion that changing the name of the park has legal standing, such an execrable act is an affront to the deceased in general and to Mrs. White in particular. Who among us would want our last wishes stricken to meet the prevailing zeitgeist? Please do the right thing and restore the name of Robert E. Lee Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Behringer. Mr. John C. Zeppelin.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm Lieutenant Colonel John Zeppelin, United States Air Force retired, a veteran of 2 wars and descendant of soldiers going back to the American Revolution. I'm here to express my total amazement that Baltimore County has removed the name sign and plaque at Robert E. Lee Memorial Park and alleged that the name has been changed when in fact the city of Baltimore, owner of the park, has done no such thing and seeks to remain in compliance with the conditional bequest of Elizabeth Garrett White, who provided the money for the park over 100 years ago. Mrs. White supported the concept to honor one of our greatest generals, Robert E. Lee. Lee was a war hero of the 1840s conflict with Mexico. He was chief engineer for the building of Fort Carroll that further enhanced the defense of Baltimore City. Sir Winston Churchill once remarked, "Lee was the noblest American who ever lived and one of the greatest commanders known in the annals of war." President Eisenhower, back in 1960, in a speech that he gave, remarked that in the Oval Office he had 4 pictures of the greatest Americans that he admired. One of those was Robert E. Lee. I would like to remark that I certainly agree with Mr. Clima's opening statements that the taking down of the monument is obviously a violation of the bequest that was in the will and of the ordinance 173, which stipulates that there will be a plaque and that the park will be named Robert E. Lee Memorial Park. I would encourage the council, therefore, to take some action to see that the plaque and the monument to Robert E. Lee is properly restored. I understand that the plaque has been refurbished by the Lake Roland Nature Council. It's in pretty good shape. I've actually seen some pictures of it, but the whereabouts of it right now, it seems to be unknown, though I understand it was given to the county executive. So on that note, I'll wish you a good evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Carl Beverin Holtz.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carl Barinholtz. I'm a retired attorney, having practiced in the city of Baltimore for 45 years. When I went to law school, one of the courses, of course, was contracts. Contracts are entered into when people want to buy and sell goods or services. There must be a consideration, a meeting of the minds. In this particular case, the sign that you have behind you, equality and liberty under the law. We are all responsible when we sign and enter into a contract. The contract between the city of Baltimore and Baltimore County many years ago was entered into and existed for all these years. The county council, the county executive, Kevin Kavanaugh, on his own volition, ordered the change of the name. Under the Freedom of Information Act, first we found out there was no cost involved. Then we found out that's not the case at all. Thousands of dollars were spent to remove the existing signs saying Robert E. Lee Park and reinstalling signs saying Lake Roland. We are responsible when we enter into a contract. People, if we breach a contract, the other aggrieved party can file suit and recover damages. What, and I'm going to ask you, what privilege, what right did Kevin Kavanaugh, county executive, have in breaching his contract with the city? I'd like to have an answer. I've never received an answer. He absolutely breached the contract, and as Mr. Klima and the rest of the gentlemen said, we support and propose that the county rename back to Robert E. Lee Park and remove the signs that designate that park as Lake Roland. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Barbara Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. They say that the role of a good leader is to define reality and say thank you. So let me do that quickly. To the bill sponsors, to Councilman Quirk, and to Councilman Marks, thank you, and to the rest of the members of the council who supported the bill, We greatly appreciate it. The reality is, as you all know, that 65% of residences inside the Erdel lack adequate access to open space within a quarter mile or about a 5-minute walk. It's also true that median home values inside the Erdel tend to waver between the third from the bottom and second from the bottom, depending on what year we happen to be in. All but one tributary is harmed by sediment or nutrients or both. We have 13% of our population that is food insecure, and the third highest number still this year, I just checked yesterday, of disconnected or opportunity youth. Land and programming on land can be a solution for all of these things. But to do that, we as a land trust need to be well run, we need to be transparent, we need to be responsive to you and to our constituents, and able to continue to attract good people with vision and skills as both staff and board members. We appreciate the trust that you have placed in us, and the board and I take very seriously our responsibilities to you and to uphold that trust. And thank you again for your support.
Thank you, Ms. Hopkins. Mr. Erwin Van, okay. Mrs. Erin Van Lovan. Okay.
Good evening. I apologize. I was here for the work session last week and had to leave early. I have 2 small children at home. I'm here to talk with you guys about mental health and behavioral health. I'm a licensed clinical social worker at Kaiser Permanente of the Mid-Atlantic States, serving the members in and around Baltimore County. I'm glad to be here to express our support for the creation of a Behavioral Health Advisory Council here in Baltimore County. Increased attention on behavioral health, including public and population health approaches, will improve the state of overall health in Baltimore County. As a mental health practitioner for more than 10 years, I can say with certainty that this area requires all of our attention and commitment. We must work to ensure that more people have access to mental health support and that we reduce the stigma surrounding mental health issues. We have undertaken a national stigma reduction effort called Find Your Words, which includes leading mental health organizations sharing their resources through a website, public service announcements, and social media, events, and more. All of this is aimed at normalizing conversations around and reducing stigma around mental health. We can only have a significant impact if we partner together in a concerted effort around mental health. The sum of a collective effort is much stronger than an individual organization's actions. Kaiser Permanente's integrated healthcare delivery system empowers our providers and our members to maximize the total health of the members. For nearly all types of care in Baltimore County, we have more than 200 physicians caring for nearly 70,000 members. We help improve the health and well-being of our members by providing high-quality mental health care services and resources that are coordinated, effective, accessible, compassionate, and individualized. In the Mid-Atlantic region, 170 Kaiser Permanente behavioral health providers use evidence-based approaches to deliver this treatment, and 16 behavioral health co-located units within as many primary care medical centers. Our members also access care from over 1,250 behavioral health providers in the community. Kaiser Permanente understands the importance of convenience, especially ongoing treatment for these chronic conditions. As a part of our everyday care and delivery service at Kaiser, we provide our members options and flexibility. One evidence is that our providers have conducted nearly 10,000 behavioral health appointments by video visit since late 2015. Beyond access, we proactively follow up with our members through programs such as depression management clinics, depression diabetes management clinics, and ongoing support for our members even after initial evaluation. I am running out of time, but I want to thank you for voting yes on this policy and just say that the creation of the Baltimore County Behavioral Health Advisory Council is a tremendous step in bridging together.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Aaron. Any questions or comments? It's been a long night. Thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for their years and years of service. And we wish everybody a safe trip home and a happy retirement. Thank you.